support. I mean, look at what the official said. Quote, "This doesn't mean we will ignore the Arab American and Muslim American population. We will not. We are not taking anyone for granted," the official said. That is an ominous fucking statement to make as a campaign official. Are you kidding me? That is really grim. Like, Biden and Kamala Harris getting criticism for not acknowledging why there were so many uncommitted votes, and then a campaign official being like, listen, we're not forgetting about Muslims and Arabs. Okay, come on. We're not taking you for granted. It's just, our core group of supporters are still behind him. Just, and then on the periphery, you have like Arabs and Muslims, like, I mean, I mean, you're still with us, right? We're not taking you for granted. But, just so you know, even though Muslims and Arabs aren't with us, our core group of supporters are still... Do you understand why it's a bad statement? Does it make sense? You understand? It's a really bad statement to make. It's really grim. Really, really grim. Do these people want to lose? They're liberals, okay? Willful incompetence is their, is the name of the game. The official said the president was working to build lasting peace in the Middle East. And then, I think the most telling quote of all, he's not approaching this issue as a politician, but as commander-in-chief. My dude, that is the problem. That is the problem. Listen, Arabs, Muslims, okay, I understand your concern about the genocide that we're funding and enabling and providing political cover for, but you need to understand, okay, rather than employing political skills, the thing one might do to prevent a genocide, Biden is actually wearing his general hat. What do you mean by that exactly? What do you mean by that? Do you really think that's going to assuage these uncommitted voters? The knowledge that Biden is super duper militarily committed to what? Fighting Hezbollah, Hamas? The Houthis? What does that mean? Insane. Democrats overall support Biden's handling of the Israeli-Hamas conflict by 61%. That is really bad, by the way. Because keep in mind, knowledge of what's going on over there is not evenly distributed across the population, and people who are opposed are really opposed. Nobody who's opposed to Biden's handling here is opposed for some kind of light-handed milquetoast, I think some improvements could be made kind of way. For the most part, it's full on like, yeah, he's enabling a genocide. So if you want to think of it another way, 40% of Democrat respondents think that Joe Biden is like a participant in a genocide. Probably not exactly 40%. I don't know. You could say some fraction, half of them, 2/3 of them. I don't know. A significant portion of Democrat voters really don't like what Biden is doing. And when we're coming up into, what will already be like a pretty difficult federal election for president, you kind of need everyone on deck. Just over 101,000 voters cast uncommitted ballots, far more than the 10,000 organizers said they sought, and prompted some to speak of plans for a nationwide movement. When Democratic President Barack Obama ran for re-election in 2012, he faced about 21,000 uncommitted votes in Michigan's primary that year. Whoo! Now that's what I like to call the most electable president of our lifetime. Now that's what I like to call Joe Biden was the only one who could beat Donald Trump. That's what I like to say about that. Keep in mind as well, we're not talking about any random blue state here. We're talking about Michigan, okay? Do you remember how narrow Biden's victory was in Michigan back in 2020? 50.6% over 47.8%. He won by 150,000 votes. Not exactly a California sweep here, okay? This is a swing state. A swing state that is only, very tentatively in the grasp of the Democrats. I'm going to cry, dude. This would have been so different if Bernie won. Well, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Bernie would probably be too old to run in this election anyway. They're both too old. The Democrats should have taken Biden as a one-term president and then set somebody else up to be the next presidential, front-runner in 2024. Easily. Biden could have stepped down graciously and said that it's been the honor of his lifetime in his political career serving the American people for 4 years, but he wants to enjoy his retirement, and he would hand things off to Kamala Harris, who would then pick a VP. I don't like Kamala Harris, but this, objectively would be much better and smarter. It also means that they could do a little bit of, accountability shuffling when it comes to the genocide being committed by Israel. No way Kamala could win. They could have pumped her with some more adrenochrome. There's always more adrenochrome. The absolute delusion of the spokesperson who commented about Biden. The audacity of contrasting Arab American and Muslim Americans with core group of supporters is fucking psychotic. Like genuinely, it's like wanting to lose. It's crazy, you know? Like it's unbelievable. Can you imagine a Trump official saying this after like a worrying performance in any state primary for the GOP? A Trump official saying something along the lines of, well, his core supporters are still behind him. We're not forgetting about this. We're not ignoring the suburban population. Like just any, it all it does is drive wedges. It's bad. It's just really, really, really bad. It's horrible. The votes are enough to send 2 uncommitted delegates to the Democrats' National Convention in August. So that's great. We actually there will be uncommitted delegates present at the national convention, just standing around, sort of passively indicating disapproval of Biden. You know how bad things in Israel have to be, optically speaking, for even like Reuters articles to be concluding with like Biden's early and strident support of Israel and his refusal to condition military aid on not killing innocent people or destroying infrastructure sparked outrage and a well-organized backlash. Damn, Reuters. Wasn't familiar with your game. Pretty pointed pretty pointed statement there. Do you think they'll organize in more states now that Michigan went so well? I hope so. I want more uncommitted primary votes. If you voted uncommitted in Michigan instead of voting for Biden, you're a Trump-supporting terrorist. True. That's true. That's pretty true. Biden won Michigan by less than a 3% margin in 2020. Now some opinion polls show the likely Republican candidate Donald Trump ahead in a head-to-head matchup in the state this time. Michigan has some 200,000 Arab American voters, more than Biden's slim 155,000 voter majority, or margin of victory in 2020. Does the primary even matter for Biden? It certainly matters when it comes to showing people's disapproval. Washington State's largest labor union is uncommitted on Biden. Whew! Oh, Biden is so pro-union too. Do you know how fucking odious you have to be? The Washington chapter of the United Food and Commercial Workers has over 50,000 members. Yeah. Yeesh. Are we really getting a second Trump turn then? What the fuck? I don't read the future. What are you talking about? I'm not magical. Vosh is the uncommitted campaign, basically an effort to bluff that you won't vote for him in the general. I mean, it might not be a bluff. I'm pretty sure, you know, we're not all like VGG internet utilitarian lords. I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are just not voting for Biden. You know, I studied a lot of politics in my day, got a big brain for politics. I gotta say, who could have known that supporting a genocide would lose you voters when you're the leader of a nominally progressive political party? That's crazy. I'm thinking, I'm racking my brain right now. I'm pondering an orb, and I'm wondering, is it possible that it might be politically unpopular in an election year to loudly and aggressively throw all your support behind a belligerent fascist, like a corrupt, you know, like ethno-nationalist leader in the Middle East as he begins sort of indiscriminately attacking a largely civilian population? I'm just, you know, I'm thinking. They're so banking on the Palestinian genocide being old news by November. Yep. That's what like, fuck, what's his name? One streamer said to me at one time. Yeah. Yeah, IRI. Yeah. This is totally on the DNC. It's not voters' fault this time, no matter how much libs blame. Oh, people will 100% blame the voters. And like, again, in a purely utilitarian sense, like you should vote for Biden. But holy shit, man. Like, you know, you can't, like, you can't, like, Biden's going out there like for a press conference, and he's like pulling out his greasy cock and balls and putting them on the edge of the podium and smashing them with a hammer. Like, I don't know, like you can't, like, if Biden died, I would prefer voting for his corpse over Donald Trump. But if he died and the Democrats ran his corpse, that doesn't mean I can't blame the DNC for not having a better alternative. The issue is that IRI is right. Most Americans still support Israel. We're not talking about whether or not most Americans support Israel. We're talking about whether or not a significant enough number of Democrats are disgusted with Biden's actions that they wouldn't vote for him. Also, who would previously not have voted for Biden that will, now that he's okay with like gutting Palestinian civilians? Like what political gain is there to be had here? You know, like who's benefiting from this? You know, politically, it's insane. Is this a bad time to mention that today the IDF opened fire on starving Palestinians waiting for an aid truck, killing 100? It's being called the Flower Massacre. We'll talk about it in a second. You know, the Biden probably was hoping that Netanyahu, who would wrap this up quickly, that he would just do like 2 weeks of indiscriminate bombardment